formation of new layer. Again, I'm just come to a mechanism here. I am not concentrating on the Q learning right now. I'm just going to concentrate on the what we call as a supervisory learning model. So what happens in supervisory learning model? As we talked about, there is a large number of data sets to be processed. So you need a layer model which can able to give you the stable mechanism, which you can give the stable mechanism for kind of an application, the stable mechanism which can give you the clear-cut picture what is happening in this case. So what you can do right now? So again, the optimization is integrated. Optimization integrated in the training. In the previous case, I told you, sorry for the typo error. So in the previous case, I told you the optimization layer can be integrated between the feature maps and what you call the training layer. But here, the optimization can be integrated on the training layer itself to make the system as a stable one and to overcome the problem of overfitting. So this is another kind of research what is going on. You can formulate a new algorithm based on the training data sets, which is based on one CNN. I have formulated different algorithms. Now the logic which comes into the next mechanism, what we have to take care about the mechanism here is convolution again and LFN. Then we go for the most important thing, that is ensembled algorithms. Ensembled algorithms are nothing but to increase the performance of these things. The convolution neural network plays as it is. These neural networks will be combined or will be integrated with AdaBoost. Will be combined with AdaBoost layers. Will be combined with AdaBoost layers. Will be combined with the AdaBoost layers. This is the logic which we have to take care about the mechanism. So this is the logic, and this is the mechanism what we have to take care about mechanism. This is another layer. When we analyze all these convolution networks, these are all the deep learning networks which I formulated for you, and you can use it for any kind of a video analytics which we are talking about. For the image processing kind of an application, you can use this any kind of these algorithms, the new models which we have formulated in a dynamic environment or in a static environment. So this is all about the videos. Now, the computer vision system is not only utilized to capture your human images and everything, and most importantly, it is utilized for the text document, reading your text document. This is most important actually. Document. The most important case over here. For this, I like to have the challenge again. When we talk about the video, we have a challenge again. So here, again, challenges for you. The first text, when you want to have an OCR kind of application, whenever you want to read a kind of making a machine to read the books, what is the thing which we have to take care about it? So the most important. So that what is the challenge which is remaining over here is every time updation. Every time learning is not encouraged. What is this actually? Every time learning, for example, when you give a one book, it should read it, right? Other when you give the other book, it should read it. Other book, it should read it. If you keep on storing the books, actually reading the books, actually keep on reading and storing the data with the memory, it becomes complex. It becomes so complex actually. So what we have to do here is like one time reading, this we can call this a one-time reading, and update whenever it is reading. So this is the logic which we have to follow is OR UR. That is OR UR is nothing but when it reads it's one time, it should get it should grasp every words and it should predict the sentences and everything. And after that, when it reads another book, based on the knowledge what it has gained from the first book, it should able to predict the next level. Right? It should predict the sentences of the next level. Hope you can understand what is the logic which we have actually. Right? So it should not keep on reading the books like us. What happens is what we do normally is when we read one book, we can able to the machine has to get the knowledge from that book, and it should understand itself what is the next sentence will be there when it reads the next book. And third book, the knowledge is upgraded. So short time. So it takes long time for reading the one book, but when it reads for the other books, right, it takes less time. So how does it is possible to make you? This is a very complex model in deep learning model. When the vision system is utilized to access your what you call as reading the books or reading the texts for the different text is stored in the memory. So what is the logic which we can utilize, and what is the mechanism you can utilize over here now? So this is the first problem. We'll talk about it. How does it makes out? And second problem is, do I store it? Is another problem. It is most importantly because this factor depends upon the first factor. Because when you store every books which has been read, so what happens? The storage will not be sufficient for the machine, and the machine will be like degraded actually. So how to make this efficiency? So that is why ORUR has to be integrated according to the logic, and how to get updated. So my knowledge, how the knowledge of the machine gets updated. I'll show you the 3 case studies which is over here, and here we can understand what is it. Knowledge gets updated. Now let me play the video for you for the case study how this happens. So we are going to play 3 different videos interlinked with each other. So we'll see the problem one by one. So first interlinked video, please watch this. So scanning process. Takes the words actually, right? I'll explain you in detail about this, how this process happens. Please note all these things. There's the words are extracted actually, right? Establishes the relationship actually between the words. So it identifies and predicts the sentences. So please watch this. This is one kind of a thing. It reads the telephone directory and stores in the brain. So the text is document is read actually. Now I'll just give you the next example, interlinked example for you. Yeah. They have a close relationship between that and this thing actually. Please watch this. So the telephone directory is being stored actually. And then now what happens is when some number comes into this picture, the text is updating that it is already stored. And based on that, it says that it is the number of some X or Y person, right? So you have to understand whenever there is a text document, the knowledge share first, it should train with the knowledge. And based on the knowledge, it should get updated by itself. So that is the most important thing what we have to clear about it. So how the algorithms are formulated right now for this case. So here, this is the logic which you have to be taking care. So we talked about the knowledge is updated here. So we have seen in two different scenes and interlinked with one each other. It reads the telephone directory and finally it identifies when the Fibonacci numbers are asked. It identifies that it is the number of some X or Y person. This is what the knowledge. This is the knowledge is required whenever you want the machine to read it actually. So here, what is the logic which comes over here is now the CNN is utilized for extracting as usual, right? So here for this, the feature maps, the knowledge is extracted. Where we call this an entity. So this is called as an entity mechanism. So this is called as the entity mechanism. So this is called as the entity. So entity is searching of the main word which has the impact on this. We can see that Bhajan Lal, all the Bhajan Lals are called as an entity, right? Relationship has to be established. So initial K, and that has been done with the help of a K. It establishes the relationship, and that has been done with the help of a knowledge graph. And finally, predicts it. This is the logic which has been happening over here, and this is a logic which has been taking over in this concept, but it is purely with a manual calculation which has been required. But how far it has been done with a deep learning approach? So far, this kind of an application, CNN, now it is integrated with a new model that is called recurrent neural networks. Here, this is the plays an important role. So this is a next hybrid model where the C convolution feature extractor can be utilized to train RNN, recurrent neural networks. So the recurrent neural networks are nothing but it's a feed-forward graphical layer, graphical neural networks, where it has been working in some cases of like the present and past inputs. Based on the present and the past, it predicts the next future values. So all the time series data can be integrated with RNN, but the RNN has its own drawback of variable gradient problem. And nowadays it has been replaced with new algorithm, the CNN plus TM. So most importantly, utilized for a video analytics, these two algorithms hybrided with each other, not only for the text document, but also for the previous cases. It has been utilized for analyzing the live streams of videos over the cases. So here we have to understand clearly this LSTM, long short-term memory. So how come RNN is now converted into an LSTM? Very simple. If you have a memory cell in the RNN, then it becomes LSTM. So this is the logic. What happens in RNN is something like when you huge number of data are stored in the network, huge number of data, there must be some loss of data which has been taking place over here. There will be the loss of data. So in order to overcome that, I need to store the data in the memory cell so that it should not forget it. So that's why we have input forget gates, lot of things in internally in LSTM. So that is the memory cells which is utilized to store the data, and based on the store the data, it predicts for the next mechanism. So this is the logic which these two algorithms and hybrided with each other is utilized primarily for the text document. But when you want to have the knowledge to be updated, so this is okay. It can predict the sentence, it can learn it. But when you want to update from the previous knowledge, we need to go for the reinforcement. So it is utilized for the reinforcement mechanism. It is utilized for the reinforcement mechanism. It is normally used with the reinforcement mechanism. So this is the logic. So CNN with LSTM, and it is normally used with the reinforcement mechanism. It is normally utilized with the reinforcement mechanism. So this is what the logic which has been taking over here, and this is the logic which you have to be very clear about it. CNN plus LSTM and reinforcement mechanism, which is normally utilized to extract all sort of applications over here. So this is the logic which we have to take care about the mechanism, which we have to be very clear about this. Again, these LSTM can be utilized for the video analytics. I'm repeating, it is utilized for this video analytics, and with the reinforcement, it can utilize for the text documents, OCR, character optical character recognition, prediction of optical character recognition, and conversion of older fonts to your newer fonts. That is, when you want the Tamil language, which was been written 1,000 years ago and 1,500 years ago, you can able to convert this to into the new model, which to the recent language what we are utilizing it. So this is how the logic, which is how the mechanism has been utilized here. So the CNN plus LSTM plays a very, 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 very important role. So I repeat, this is most important with the reinforcement and the algorithms for the video analytics, particularly for your medical. Second application, when you incorporate the LSTM technique, you can integrate, you can utilize in this. I'll just repeat this, cybersecurity also. And language translation. So the language translations. And finally, you can utilize in case of your particular networks, planets, and you have geographical informations and everything. So these can be utilized for a kind of an application. So this plays an important role. And for the more number of features, if you want added, the CNN LSTM can be converted into 3D CNN with LSTM. So now you can understand this is the next level, next category of the deep learning model, which is being utilized for a kind of an application. So 3D CNN with the LSTM technique. This can be utilized in a kind of an application. So the most important thing which we have to be taking care about is 3D CNN with the LSTM logic. So 3D CNN with the LSTM logic is being utilized for a kind of a application. So this is how the logic works on. This is how the mechanism works on. Actually, so here this is the logic of which we have to take care, and this is the logic which we have to be very clear about the concepts. Actually, so these are all the mechanisms, optimization layers, CNN and LSTM and everything. Now, like CD's LSTM is having another most important advantage in communication. We'll see what is that, and then we'll come back for a whiteboard session. So again, we case video for you. The most important the role of CNN and LSTM. So role of CNN and LSTM, transferring your video, which plays an important role in your 5G techniques, 5G technologies, right? So the most important combination of a vision system and the transferring your videos in accordance to the bandwidth of your video, according to the bandwidth of your network actually. So here what happens is these videos, when you transmit these videos, medical ultrasound videos will consume larger bandwidth. Actually, it consumes huge number of bandwidth for processing actually. So that has all been eradicated. That can be done in an effective manner with the help of CNN with LSTM techniques. And with the video which you can process is through with the help of a logic we come across here is the reinforcement again comes into the picture. So combination of CNN, LSTM and reinforcement will make the video transmission effectively in a network and utilizing the minimum bandwidth as well as with the lossless transmission. And this is the most important. This kind of models is the most important when you sorry, when you implement in the 5G technologies. So hope this is most important, but complex. It is a little bit complex, but still most powerful to understand what is happening over here. So this is the logic actually. So this is the logic, it understands, and you can see there is no kind of a loss over here. Live streaming of data is taking place in the network, and everyone has been visualizing it. So this is the logic which has been taking place over here. The CNN and LSTM models with the communication system along with the vision system plays an important role whenever you want to work on a 5G communications. These models will play a vital role for a mechanism. Now, so we have seen all sort of models actually. So I have covered the research perspectives of different algorithm formation, but where to deploy it, that is the most important case, and how to deploy it for a kind of a testing. So this is most important for a kind of an application. So here, after seeing this, where do I implement it? Where do I deploy it? So this is the logic which you have to be taking care over here. The deployment is two categorization, has been divided into two categorization as hardware centric and software centric. So this is a logic, or we can say this is a cloud centric. Hardware centric and the cloud centric mechanism. So hardware centric and the cloud centric mechanism. So this is a logic which we have to take care about the mechanism over here. So the logic what is hardware centric? Deploying everything in a single hardware. So that is the logic which you have to be taking care. So deploying everything in a single hardware. So what are the hardwares you can utilize for? But the first thing what we cover here is embedded GPUs. For this, you can use NVIDIA, Jetson Nano board. So this is the most important case what we have right now. So embedded Jetson GPU, that's NVIDIA Jetson Nano, which you can utilize mostly for your computer vision system, and it is primarily with AI within OT boards. And the architecture is quad core GPUs. Quad core Cortex. Architectures with GPU. So this is the most important for this, and the Cortex architectures are integrated for deploying this actually. And the third thing is about the programming. Use a Python actually for, and all this TensorFlow, Keras, and everything is utilized. So all this TensorFlow, Keras, and what you call PyTorch, everything is there in your mechanism, and you can use it as it is for a kind of an application, computer vision system. So this is a little costlier, but it can prove you with the better results and best results, which is coming over here. And when you want to work out with the low end of your application in the computer vision system, so I suggest you to go for this embedded CPUs. The embedded CPUs are nothing but it's a lightweight, implementing a lightweight algorithm on my hardware, and that has been done with the help of MaxiPi boards. MaxiPi boards. Again, this is an AI and IoT low-cost board, but still it's powerful. and the architecture is most important whenever you just want to select your application. When you select your hardware for a kind of application, please watch this. This architecture will play a vital role for you. Whenever you want to integrate any kind of a vision and deep learning models in the hardware, so this architecture plays very important role for your application. And this is a mechanism which we have to take care about the logic. This is the logic which you have to be taking care about the mechanism. So here, this is most important for us, and this is the logic which you have to be taking care for this kind of an application. So most important, RISC-V architectures. And the program here is a little bit different actually, because it is a lightweight, so it's a hardware oriented. So next is we have to use for a MicroPython. MicroPython programming is integrated over here. So this is the logic. So MicroPython programming. So MicroPython programming technique is integrated for this kind of an application. So this is a completely different, which supports your hardware. C versus Python. The both are integrated. Both are integrated, and this is a little bit tough for the programming. Whereas the Python, you have all the general features which is required. But involving in the MicroPython is a little bit tough for us to understand what is there in the hardware. And but it is low cost, but lightweight protocols can be designed with the help of this MicroPython. And instead, for this, if you have been not familiar, instead you can use a simple thing which is called Raspberry Pi 4. So the logic which comes under the picture, Raspberry Pi boards can be utilized, as you know already. And another area which has been there is we call this FPGAs, which is normally used with the help of hardware software co-design. Again, the code is like Python with Verilog. The boards which are utilized here is Zinc boards. So these boards are utilized to do that kind of an application. So I'll show you the slide, which is consist of only the filter layers of the, as we talked about the CNN's filter layer. So you can see here some filter layers over here, and this filter layers are most important for you. So this is something which is being developed on the FPGA, which is most important. That is like the video processing on the chip. This is which shows only 1 to 10% of the diagram, that is a circuit which is involved here, which is used to involve the convolution filtering layers, which we talked about, and that has been utilized for a kind of an application. So this is another category where you can work and where you can see how kind of what kind of applications is being utilized. So in general, when we're talking about here is we just these are all the areas. And for the cloud centric, you can use a simple hardware, and you can use AWS, Azure, and for the Google Analytics, where the live streaming of videos analytics can be utilized with the programming knowledge called OpenML and AutoML concepts. So these are all the things which are available right now, and these are all the tools which are utilized to deploy whatever the models we have seen here. So when we talk about, when we summarize our topics today, we started what is AI, and we formulated a different model, deep learning models, and over the applications, and how it resolves the problems in the existing models, and how come it has been deployed with the help of the hardware which are available, and how to make it out. So this is what the entire cycle when you want to work on the video analytics over here, the formation of learning models. But still there are the design challenges, real challenges which is facing or whenever you start doing an experimentation, right? So guys, any doubts here, you can ask me right now.
Sure, okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, the speech was really great. So many algorithms you said, everything are very useful, sir. The video
Thank you.
processing, all that identification, everything are really very informative, sir. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
Part-
ma'am. Thank you.
okay, sir. Participants, if you have any doubt, means you can ask, as well as you can post your queries in a chat box. I think no doubt, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So hope everyone have understood the concepts actually, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would like to extend a special thanks to Dr. Adif Shah sir for giving us a wide knowledge about machine vision aspects in video processing and its analysis in industrial startup sector. It's actually a very inspiring speech, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
okay, sir. We honoring the session speaker, Dr. Adif Shah sir, with a small virtual memento. Please accept, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Participants, I will post the feedback form in the chat box. Please stay online.